What is up, guys? Welcome back. We have the first Thursday night of the 2025 season. I'm pretty excited about it. It's Philadelphia hosting the Dallas Cowboys. I think we're in. I think we're in for a good night. I kind of like the over for tonight. It does have a little bit of rain in the forecast, but I think overall we're going to be just fine. Good evening, Mr. Magic. Good evening to Harris as well. Hope you guys are doing great. It's the first Thursday night of the year. I'm actually pretty excited about tomorrow night's game too. I think we're in for a really good Brazil game, and I kind of like the Friday night tradition that hopefully will continue to grow here. But we're hanging out for the next half an hour or so. If you guys do have questions, we're just getting into the swing of things. Thursday Night Live. I'm going to continue to do this every Thursday evening that I can, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So if you guys want to hang out before the Thursday Night Football game, please get your questions, get everything ready that you need. How do you think the game will go? Shootout potential? I've looked at it all day, man. I've looked at it all day. These games were not close last year. And both of them happened without Dak Prescott, which concerns me. But the Cowboys just got blown out in both of these games last year. It was not competitive. I'm actually going to go see the new Conjuring movie tonight later. So I'm probably leaving fourth quarter. I think this game might be done by the fourth quarter. But there is a chance that the Cowboys, they're going to have to keep throwing the ball. But we're talking in 2024, 34-6, Philadelphia blew them out in Dallas. Week 17, 41-7, Philadelphia blew them out again. And that game, Jalen Hurts didn't even play. So I don't quite think that these rosters are close to, being balanced and equal. I think we're looking at a game that, I'm going to give the Eagles 3 touchdowns. If I set the over-under at Eagles touchdowns, I'm going to set it at 3.5. I think there's a legit chance that they go over and hit the 4 touchdowns. I'm thinking there's a field goal or two. I can see them easily hanging 31, 34 points on the Cowboys defense. And then if you look at the Cowboys offense, they're going to have to continue to throw the ball. Interestingly enough, no Jaden Blue tonight. This team is walking into Philadelphia with Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Hunter Lepke, and Kevontae Turpin. So that one's a bit of a surprise. I think the Cowboys are going to have to throw the ball 40 times tonight. Dak's going to probably make a mistake or two, but Jaden Blue not in the game. That to me means Javonte Williams is going to be a guy that plays a lot. But they're going to mix in Sanders. They're going to mix in Hunter Lepke on third downs and the fullback stuff. And then I think Kevontae Turpin's a guy to keep an eye on for end arounds and sweeps and quick throws and things like that. And hey, Ron, man, thank you. I appreciate you, Ron. Cheers, buddy. Happy 2025 season is here. I appreciate it, Ron. Thank you so much. Good luck tonight to Ron. It's week 1, guys. We've done so much work into this. I don't have a lot at stake tonight. Most of my leagues, man, I got Harris sniping me on CeeDee Lamb last night. I did not get as many Cowboys as I wanted to this season, but I'm glad Ron's here. I'm glad Harris is here. I'm glad everyone's here. Get your questions in, man. Get your questions in. I hope Ron has a lovely night, and I think I said it last night, but congrats on the on the baby, dude. Congrats on the baby. Drop Robinson Jr. or Rico Dowdle. I don't really want to drop either of these guys if I could hold on to them. It really depends on who you're trying to make a move for, my man. I like to look at the news throughout the day, and the blurb that I saw today on Chuba Hubbard is like, hey, we're not going to use Chuba Hubbard as much as we can early in the season. He's a guy that we want to keep fresh. So to me, I think Rico Dowdle's a guy that's going to get 6 to 10 touches per game and be a guy that, PPR purposes, maybe he catches a ball or two. Maybe he's got a decent high floor. Brian Robinson, on the other hand, he's like, to me, purely a handcuff. Like, he's not going to get a ton of touches unless CMC gets hurt. So if I'm ranking these two guys each week, I'm probably going to rank Rico a little bit higher. And yeah, man. So my wife's like new Conjuring's out. We're big into like horror movies are our genre. And she's like, we can either go Thursday night or Friday night because we can't go Saturday. We can't go Sunday. And I'm just like, okay, fine. I will sacrifice the fourth quarter of the Eagles Cowboys game. And I got to watch my boy Herbert tomorrow night. I got to watch I think that's going to be a good game. The Chiefs Chargers, I think, is going to be a good game in the fourth quarter. So we like the scary movies. Yeah, man. Ron, man, you didn't have to do that, Ron. You didn't have to do that. I love you so much. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Ron. We have to add a kicker. Harris has to add a kicker. I'm probably just going to dump Bijan, or I'm not dumping Bijan. I'm dumping Brian. That's kind of been the meme the last couple of weeks of people drafting Bijan and Brian wrongly. But I will go ahead and keep Rico Dowdle here. I'm gonna just go over the new, like, it's Thursday night, week 1. There's really not a ton of stuff to look at. But I'm gonna go over the news here. The big one that I saw, man, is gonna be Jaden Blue inactive for week 1. To me, they only have 2 of the running backs on the roster. That's Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders. They do have a fullback on the roster, and that's going to be Hunter Lepke. But I think we're going to see Kevontae Turpin take some snaps in the backfield on third downs. They're going to mix in Hunter Lepke on third and long because he's a good blocker. He's also a fullback that could get some short, down and distance carries. But it's looking like if you guys are playing DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, DFS, I think Javonte Williams is probably a smart play tonight. He's a guy that can easily rack up, 12 to 15 touches in this game. And if they do get close, I would imagine he's going to be the guy that gets the carries. So I think I'm kind of in on the Javonte tonight. We'll see. We got to watch this backfield and see what they're going to do. But I think it's going to be a huge committee this evening. Rams or 49ers defense? So I was looking at the Rams defense earlier today, and I'm not like too impressed by the roster that they have defensively. I think I'm going to lean 49ers against a comfortable divisional opponent. I kind of like the matchup for the Houston Texans. So we'll get to it, but I did see that Christian Kirk is missing practice this week. We're probably going to see a lot of Nico Collins and a lot of Nick Chubb this week, but I'm going to give the edge to San Francisco here. I don't feel great. Like, these guys are like, San Fran's like a fringe top 10 play, I think, at Seattle. Whereas the Rams, I love Jared Verse, but I just don't know if I'm going to trust them week 1. So I'm going to go Niners D here. Would you drop Blue instead? I want to hold on to Blue. It really depends. Like, to me, it's going to be Harris. Like, who did I draft last? That's probably who I'm going to cut. I'm not looking at the projections for week 1. I drafted my guys for a reason. I'm going to probably draft I'm going to cut whoever I drafted last and figure it out that way. And yeah, that's the big note there, Mr. Magic. I think if you guys have the ability to move someone to IR or add somebody tonight, like Jalen Noel is a guy that's going to start in the slot for the Houston Texans. You're going to see Jaden Higgins start probably as an outside receiver in 2 wide receiver sets. You're also going to see Xavier Hutchinson rotate in a little bit. But the big guy that's going to benefit with Christian Kirk out is going to be the rookie out of Iowa State, Jalen Noel. So if he's available in your leagues, you guys can take a shot on him. Because there's a chance, man. Like, if he goes out week 1 and he catches 5 for 62, and they're like, oh man, like we can put Kirk on ice here. We got Jalen Noel. That could be a spot where Noel just kind of takes the inside lane here and stays as the slot receiver, and then they basically had to rotate Christian Kirk in later. So that's a big blow for Christian Kirk's dynasty redraft value. He's kind of behind the 8 ball already, so I'm a little nervous here. Would I drop Cam Scatabo for JCM? I think so. That one seems pretty easy to me, Harris. I'm still nervous about what Washington's going to look like with this backfield. Like, there's a legit chance that JCM only gets 4, 5, 6 carries week 1. But I think the bet is having him on your roster long term is going to be fruitful. Scatabo, he's got to compete with Tyrone Tracy, who they like. They got to compete with Devin Singletary. It's also not as an exciting of an offense. Whereas the Commanders, we know they're going to be living in the red zone, scoring touchdowns, that kind of thing. So to me, I'm taking JCM over Scatabo. The Rams pass rush is pretty good. It's in LA. I can see that game going pretty well. But like, pop quiz, can anyone name a cornerback? Can you name a cornerback starting on the Rams? Pop quiz. Mr. Magic's going with the Rams here. So tonight, in my Asheville Tourist Cup, we're drinking just a little whiskey with a Cherry Coke Zero. I'm a guy that likes my sweet liqueurs, and I haven't really been drinking a lot of beer for alcohol. It's mostly a mixed drink if I can. I need to get a good bottle of bourbon though. Now that it's football season, I need a good bottle of bourbon for some old fashions. If I could drink any drink regularly, that would be the one. Old fashions, you might have a little cherry, a little orange in there with a good bourbon, and then I just do bourbon on the rocks with the muddled fruits. That's usually my drink of choice. Oh, so just a refresher, if anyone, like, if you guys, Thursday is going to be a huge practice day for me. I don't really care too much about Wednesdays. I'm going to probably say this over and over again throughout the year. Thursday is the first big day. If you miss Thursday practice, I'm going to be like, whoa, you're going to be in doubt for Sunday. And if you miss Friday practice, you're probably not playing Sunday. So tomorrow we should get those actives, inactives. If you want to wait, and maybe you can move Kirk to IR at that point. Otherwise, if there's any other way to get the realistic possibility though is that Noel should be picked up this weekend before the big reveal. But what happens when Kirk comes back? We got 2 guys fighting for the slot. I just don't know if I need to add a guy like Jalen Noel right now. We're not even going to trust Caleb Johnson until we see what this backfield looks like. There's a lot of buzz for Jalen Warren this week. There's also a lot of buzz on Kenneth Gainwell. I'm not going to trust Caleb at all. Give me Samson. As long as Judkins isn't there, there's room for Samson and Jerome Ford to get enough touches. And you're also playing the Bengals. Steelers playing the Jets. I'm going to go with Samson here. And hey, good evening to Jason. Hope you're doing well, my guy. So when I see half PPR, my mind instantly goes to who's scoring the touchdown. David Montgomery against the Packers. I mean, he's been kind of like a Packer killer these last couple of years since he's been there. I do feel safe about him. So it's a matter, Jason, this is a matter of risk. Do you want the safe points? Do you want to collect your 50 yards and your pretty good chance at a touchdown? Then you go Monty. If you want to shoot for your ceiling play, I think the game tonight is, hey, the Cowboys got to throw the ball. They're going to be behind. They got to play keep up. I mean, we could easily see George Pickens rack up 4, 5, 6 catches tonight, approach 70, 80, 90 yards. And, I think he's going to be a red zone threat for them too. I think for me, I shoot for the ceiling. I play George Pickens. So we're holding on. To me, the 49ers are a defense that I just want to hold all year. So that's kind of why I'm just a Niner guy. Michael Wilson or Hollywood Brown. These are both not ideal. So this is a pretty deep option here. I think just from what I've seen with Arizona is that Zay Jones is going to compete for the number 2 duties with Michael Wilson. And then the opportunity for that game, I mean, it's New Orleans, Arizona. Like, if we just kind of think about how that game script is going to go, like, we're going to see 20 touches for James Conner, a handful of touches for Trey Benson. They're making some big plays in the passing game. There's a real chance where they don't have to throw the ball and air it out. I think I'm going to go Hollywood Brown here. Oh, and we got the tilde on ETN. Jason is saying ETN, Mason, or J.K. Dobbins half PPR. I think if you have ETN, this is a pretty good opportunity to start him against Carolina, a team that we're not really too scared about defensively. I do think J.K. Dobbins, though, like he's listed as the starter. They're home favorites by a touchdown against the Titans. And like I'm just pulling up my fantasy points allowed from 2024. Last season, the Tennessee Titans, they were like a stingy defense across the board. Like they didn't allow a ton of fantasy points, but the running backs are where they gave up the points. They gave up 15 rushing touchdowns last year. That's almost one per game. They almost gave up 1,800 rushing yards. That's, well over 100 yards per game. I think J.K. Dobbins, if I'm just looking at all three of these guys, I think Dobbins has your best chance for a touchdown. And, he's mixing. Like the fact is all these three running backs are mixing with other backs. But I think J.K. Dobbins, man, week 1 at home against the Titans, a game where they're favored by 8 points, he's probably the safest play. I think your ceiling play is probably ETN. And then Mason, I still don't know how that backfield's going to look. I think he's going to be involved, but I kind of want to wait and see. So if I'm ranking these guys, I'm going to go Dobbins, ETN, Mason. And yeah, so the bourbon on the rocks, man, I muddle my cherry. I get the little orange muddle in there, and we just do, I don't know, 2 or 3 shots of bourbon just on a big block of ice is usually what that's my go-to. Jason's coming in with the hot questions here, man. These are the 2 guys that I drafted in my Superflex draft. And these are 2 guys that I'm super, super insanely high on. I think for me, Trevor Lawrence going up against Carolina in week 1, that's probably the matchup that I'm going to feel really, really good about. I think if you wait and we just see what Herbert looks like, we're going to see what this Chargers offense looks like. I want to see what the running back rotation is. It is a home game, but it's Kansas City. I think I'm going to take my chances and let's just watch Friday night, see how this Chargers offense looks. And I'm going to wait for Trevor Lawrence at home against Carolina. Egbuka or Moore? I'm assuming that's DJ Moore. I'm going to go Egbuka, man. As long as Godwin's out, I'm pretty excited about Egbuka. DJ Moore, got a lot of upside in there, but he's going against a tough defense in Minnesota. I think to me, Egbuka against the Atlanta Falcons is probably where I want to be. I do think, if you can afford to lose Christian Kirk, like he's probably at best your number 5, number 6 wide receiver. For me, Deontay Thornton is a guy that, week 1, if he comes out and he gets, I don't know, say 7 targets, catches, 3, 4, 5 balls, all of a sudden we're talking. So he's on one of the short lists for me as a guy that could just get off to a hot start. And, if he's out there running the number 2, number 3 receiver snaps, that could be very attractive. So I don't hate it. It's fine. Either way, we're probably going to be looking to upgrade this position at some point. But I think Thornton, let's get that week 1 data point and see if he's going to be a guy. Whereas we know Christian Kirk's probably not playing this week or next week. And hey, I appreciate you, my man. Brown or Kraft PPR? I'm assuming that is Marquise Brown. I don't think there's a tight end Brown. I'll go Tucker Kraft. I'm not too worried about the weather. The guys that I usually follow, they didn't seem too concerned. It's really warm, which is good, and there's not a lot of wind. It's probably going to sprinkle at some point tonight. I'm just Googling Philadelphia weather real quick. It says thunderstorms are probably going to happen. I'm seeing basically in about, I don't know, starting pretty soon, we're going to see some thunderstorms, but I'm not maybe heavy thunderstorms. Okay. Maybe a little bit of risk tonight. I still think you're playing CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Devonta Smith, and A.J. Brown. The real questions are the tight ends. Ferguson, Goddard, those are the guys that I'm probably a little bit more nervous about. Josh Downs or Jaden Higgins half PPR. I'm going to go with Josh Downs. I know he's a really good player. We don't really know what Jaden Higgins' role is going to be. I do like that it's going to be an opportunity for him with Christian Kirk out, but give me Josh Downs. I think he's a guy that's probably more likely to catch 4 or 5 passes in a game than Higgins right away. And hey, good evening to Zach. Interesting. McCaffrey limited in practice today. I think we're going to probably see this designation a lot this season. I'm not going to be too worried about it, even though like last year we're kind of getting we're getting the deja vu, like Zach said here. I'm not too concerned about it. He's a guy that's he's been healthy all practice. We haven't heard anything. I think it's probably just, hey, Thursday, take it easy. Friday, you're back, and we'll see what happens. So let's just pump the brakes. Pickens or Pacheco flex PPR. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to go safe, you go Pacheco because we know he's going to get 12 to 15 touches in this one. I think if it's me, I'm probably going to play George Pickens tonight and see what happens. I think I feel good about Pickens getting 4 catches at least. Whether that's 4 for 50, 4 for 70, and a touchdown is probably the big difference here. But I'm going to go George Pickens over Pacheco. It's still like the Chargers defense is still pretty decent. I'm looking at the numbers from last year, and they were one of the better defenses last year. They allowed the 4th fewest fantasy points across the board, and they were one of the best teams against running backs. Actually, in fact, they were number 6 best against the running back position last year. They only allowed 4 rushing touchdowns all of last year too, by the way. I'm probably going to play Pickens tonight. Dak or Trevor. I think I'm going to probably hold out and see what Trevor Lawrence can do. A little bit of nervousness about the rain and the weather and things like that. But it's also a tough matchup against Philadelphia. They're going to generate pressure and sacks. I think for me, Trevor Lawrence at home, Carolina, he has the rushing upside. I'm going to lean with Trevor. And if I have Dak in this situation, I just want to see what it looks like. Let's see what the offense looks like and figure it out. I think week 2, Dallas is going to be, they're going to be at home against New York. That's going to be the spot to play Dak. So hopefully if he does go off and he throws for 303 touchdowns, it's like, hey, I got Dak Prescott, but you can still be excited about Trevor Lawrence on Sunday. We have a few minutes left in the show. I'm going to kind of just go over some of the player news that I saw today that was meaningful. Keon Coleman was seen practicing, so that's good news for the Bills receiver. I don't think he practiced yesterday, so I was concerned about him a little bit. Obviously, the big one we've talked about is Christian Kirk not practicing today. You're going to see Jalen Noel step into the slot, and Jaden Higgins is basically locked into the second wide receiver role. Darren Waller still not practicing, man. I don't understand what's going on there. I don't think we're going to care about Miami tight end this season, though. But that's just very strange. He's been there for over a month, and he's not practicing the week of the game. Don't love that. Devontae Adams or Tet McMillan. That is a crazy question. I'm going to go Devontae Adams, man. Let's see what Tet McMillan looks like. I do think Jacksonville has potential to have a lot of fantasy points in it, but give me. We got a healthy Stafford. We got a healthy Devontae. I'm going to go Devontae here. Ron coming in hot with a Strange or Loveland at tight end in a tight end premium. Not only. I want to believe in Loveland, but I think I'm more excited about Jacksonville and the fact that we've seen Strange play well before. He's probably going to catch 3 or 4 passes in a tight end premium. I think I'm going to take the safety here. If you want to risk it, I think Loveland's ceiling is much higher. Like he could come out and just get 5-6 catches and go kind of nuts for 80 yards. But I think the safe play week 1 is probably Brenton Strange. We're not too worried about the Carolina Panthers. Let me look and see what the Panthers did against tight end last year. The Panthers were one of the worst teams against tight end last year. In fact, they allowed the most touchdowns to the tight ends last year. They allowed 11 touchdowns to tight ends, allowed about 14 points per game in a PPR setting. So to me, I'm probably going to stick with Brenton Strange. Loveland against the Minnesota Vikings, man. Like the Vikings were number 4. They were the 4th best team against tight end last year. They only allowed 3 touchdowns. So I think it's, for me, week 1, I want to kind of wait and see what things are looking like. I'm going to go Brenton Strange here. Oh, my goodness. I'm probably going to apply the same logic here. Kenneth Walker healthy. Kenneth Walker's in my lineup. That's what I'm going to do. It's very exciting what's going on with TreVeyon Henderson right now, but I think, it's week 1. Ramondre Stevenson's healthy. He's going to be getting touches in this offense. Let's root for Henderson and hope that it looks good, and we'll look at the usage and we can project better for next week. But I think you take Kenneth Walker week 1 against the 49ers. I don't think the 49ers were all that great against running backs last year. And actually, I have it up right now. The 49ers allowed the 3rd most fantasy points per game to the running back last year. They allowed league high 18 rushing touchdowns. So to me, Kenneth Walker, and I think there might be some rain going on this weekend too. So if we do get those kind of leagues, those rainy days, we could be looking at a lot of Seattle Seahawks running attempts. So I'm going to go K Walker. Next gen. Should we trade Puka for Pacheco, McMillan, and Henderson? Maybe have to throw in Aaron Jones in the trade. I'm open to it. I mean, you're getting Pacheco and Henderson, which are both serviceable running back 2s. Puka to McMillan. You're getting a wide receiver 1 in Puka, downgrading to a wide receiver 2 in McMillan. If my running backs are in need, if I don't feel good about my RB2 situation, I'm very, very open to this deal. Oh, man. Okay. For our league, is every transaction going to be $1 minimum to claim and no free ads after waivers clear? Is that the setting? I don't think that's the setting. So our league, this is the Fellowship Money League. I'm looking it up here. So we have a 2-day waiver wire system. So I have a $1 minimum offer, and we have a 2-day waiver wire system. So the reason that I'm a pro 2-day waiver wire guy is typically most leagues will have the waiver wires run on a Tuesday evening, so that when you wake up on Wednesday, all of a sudden, boom, you get your guy. But I like the Wednesday practice reports. So setting it at 2 days means the waiver wire now runs on Wednesday night. I wake up on Thursday, I get my guys. But the one downfall is that it does take an extra day for guys. Like, guys are sitting for an extra day. So it's $1 minimum. I could change this right now if we want. This is a pretty universal rule here. I'm just going to set it to 0 here, Zach. Boom. So we got a $0 minimum offer, 2-day waivers. And we just drafted last night, so this waiver wire runs Saturday morning. So good question there. But man, we're about 15 minutes away from kickoff. I'm pretty excited. I have the Eagles probably. I'm going to go Philadelphia 31, Dallas 20 is going to be my guess. I think this game's going to go over I think it's like 47.5, 48.5 for the over under. I'll go over on that one. Oh yeah. So save their money, man. That's my biggest thing so I'm one of the crazy guys that will set his alarm for like 2:30 a.m. when the waiver wire runs, and I'll go pick up my guy and kind of figure that out. But for me, I like saving the waiver wire money for when you need it. Don't try to spend your budget too much unless you are desperate. Of course, that's when you spend the money. But that's going to do it for the first week 1 Thursday night football live show. Going forward, the schedule is going to be Tuesday night. We're going to go live at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's when we'll talk waiver wire. Wednesday night, we'll go over the player practice news for the day. And then I'll answer any questions from the chat room. That's going to be 7 p.m. Central Time. And then Thursdays, we're going to stick to this 6:30 p.m. Central Time to, about a half an hour. We'll go live. So I want to say thank you to everybody that's been riding with us all summer long. It's finally here. Good luck. I hope you guys have a lot of fun. I hope you guys get all the points you need. and your opponent doesn't get all the points they need. But I just, again, very thankful. Appreciate you guys. Good luck. We'll see you soon. Peace.